Welcome back to New Rockstars. Deadpool 3 has recently confirmed the Wolverine to have a major role in Marvel Studios' first stab at the Merc with the mouth and the guns and the swords and whatnot. But what if I told you that these two are already in serious trouble with the law before they even stepped their murderous toes in the MCU? This is Rogue Theory, the show where we pitch the wildest theories for the nerdy titles that we love. My name is MT, and going rogue with me today is Professor Xavier's long-lost son on the show. With us today, it's Tom Michelson. What's going on, Tom?
Hello, just call me Tom Xavier. Let me roll around a bit. I already got my head shaved. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me back. So excited to talk Deadpool, Wolverine, X-Men. Any excuse to talk X-Men, I'm game.
Dude,
let's do it.
It's mutant season. Mutants are coming. Let's go. And of course, we have also been blessed with the presence of the pilot who flew the plane the X-Force jumped out of in Deadpool 2 before they all were immediately killed. It's Brandon Barrick. What's going on, Brandon?
Yes, and I would like to say that their deaths do not fall on the pilot, okay? They were safe getting on the plane. They were safe when they left the plane.
They jumped out.
I'm not responsible.
They all signed a waiver.
I'm not responsible. They all signed a waiver, okay?
It's all good. We don't blame you, except for maybe
Thank you.
The guy that got chopped up in the wood chipper. But then again, that was probably his fault. That leads us to our first topic of today. I believe that Wolverine, Wade Wilson, Deadpool himself, and Cable will be arrested by the Time Variance Authority at some point very soon. Because here's why, and you guys probably know why. These three have messed around with time so badly in their universe. Like, my goodness, freaking Wolverine during Days of Future Past, like, went from his timeline to the 80s or whatever, and he just messed up the flow of time and messed up the Sentinel program and all of that, and he restored the X-Men timeline. He literally fixed Fox's very complicated X-Men timeline before they would go on to ruin it themselves with more shitty movies.
Yeah.
Sorry. My goodness. But it also, Deadpool and Cable in Deadpool 2, they literally just went to town, like they used Cable's time machine to just change everything. And I think that this is going to have serious effects in their universe. And I think the TVA is not particularly happy with their actions because Deadpool is a chaotic element, just like Loki is. And I think that they're all going to be in trouble for what they did. And they will be meeting Mobius and B-15 and all the wonderful gents and gals and all sorts of people in the TVA. What do you guys think about this?
I mean, it certainly makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of time shenanigans going on. And if we believe that every universe has a TVA, they would be looking in on it, I think. And also, like, the time traveling that Logan does, right, in Days of Future Past, it is very, like, kind of mysterious. And what we know now about timelines, like, that creates, like, a branch timeline, right? The time where, like, Logan gets to live happily with the X-Men in the mansion, that's, like, separate from, like, the rest of that X-Men crew, right?
Right, exactly. Because I don't think the events of X2 on happen after Days of Future Past, because like we see Jean Grey, she's alive.
And young Nightcrawler all of a sudden is part of the crew now. So yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
But is that Logan that gets to live in that happy timeline? Is that the Logan that dies that we see die in Logan, or is that a different Wolverine that we see die in Logan?
I think the Wolverine from Logan is different because we know from that movie that mutants haven't been born for 25 years. And that's around 2004 in that universe. So I think that that universe is like unique because of that particular thing that mutants were not able to be born. So I'm assuming that it's a different variant, but who knows at this point?
Maybe.
You know what's interesting is if this this theory would mean that the X-Men movies and all that jacked up continuity is in the sacred timeline or some sort, right? Or something that means that it's bona fide. But it's funny to think that the MCU now is so powerful that they can fix the continuity of the Fox movies. That's just hilarious to me that if that's how they go around doing this. But no, I think this is great. It's interesting that with this whole Wolverine excitement, I feel so bad for Josh Brolin. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't care. But I this whole time I was like, yeah, Deadpool Wolverine. I totally forgot Cable was in the second one, and that's a big deal. So when you said yeah, and Cable's gonna come along, I was like, oh shit, that's right. Josh Brolin's part of these movies. I would hope. To me, I'm just like, oh, it's just gonna have Wolverine and Deadpool and a time card like flying through the universe. I just thought that it was going to be something straightforward like that, but no, that's true. Like, it makes sense that not only would Cable be hanging around, but of course, again, the MCU is so powerful now. They can introduce the TVA and just fix everything, every problem we've ever had with the Fox movies. Also definitively kill that universe and then bring the good parts that we like over, just like they're doing with Netflix.
Basically, I mean, like, and I honestly feel like the TVA that the Fox universe has is completely different from the TVA that we saw for the majority of Loki. Because I feel like the TVA that Loki went to at the very end of the series could be the Fox universe TVA. And that's the reason why, the actor that played classic Loki was the villain of Logan. And I feel like the reason why
Richard E. Grant.
they can be sort of like double, like he can be both people is because he is playing a different version of, like, he's playing a different character completely in that separate multiverse batch. Like, there's a completely new multiverse, the completely separate multiverse, and that's the Fox multiverse. And I feel like Loki's there. He's like, oh shit, time to go meet Hugh Jackman Wolverine and stuff and go see this complicated timeline. And hopefully pick up X-23 because I really want her in the MCU.
Oh yeah,
She's
I was
really
hoping she would jump along for the ride
she's
too.
fantastic.
Wait, so that's interesting because in Loki, the idea is that there is one TVA, but now that we're merging movie studio universes, you think that there's multiple TVAs.
Yes, I think
and
that's
multiple
why,
sacred timelines.
Basically. And I feel like, we see at the beginning of the Loki finale, we see two black holes. I think that the black hole that we zoomed into, that's the MCU multiverse sacred timeline. The black hole on the left, like I feel like, is the Fox universe, where like they have their own timeline. And then Mobius is like, I don't know who Tom Hiddleston is, even though I'm supposed to be a Loki expert. I've never seen this man in my life. Because there's no Tom Hiddleston Loki in the Fox universe. So I have a feeling that that's what's going on there, and that that TVA is going to be arresting Wolverine, Deadpool, and Cable for being bad boys with the time.
Well, they did let them, I mean, at the time, that TVA let them do their time shenanigans, much like the 616 TVA allows the Avengers to jump through time because it was all part of that story. Now, like, remember the 616 TVA, its purpose was not necessarily to keep time safe. It was to keep the other Kangs out. Like, every move was made to keep other Kangs out. They don't care what happens inside as long as, like, that's why Thanos is allowed to do his stuff. That's why the Avengers are allowed to do their stuff, because it's all keeping the Kangs out. But now that's off the table, right? And the Kangs can come in. That means other people can come in. I love this idea, MT, because it would be great for Wade to be, like, arrested and then just kill everyone in the TVA and be like, okay, thank you. And I'm going to use your machine to go over to the 616.
Just a rated R blood
dimensions.
Yeah. And you're right, Tom. Like, the MCU is too powerful. And I think that's a lot of what Secret Wars is going to be about, is like, you guys are creating incursions across you're wiping out other universes. Like, I love the idea that the MCU is destroying the Fox universe. And so that's why Wade Wilson, Deadpool, is like, we got to get out of here. I'm going to take Logan with me. And we're getting out of here, baby, because this universe is about to be destroyed. I
totally imagine them riding like the Bifrost with this, like, with the shrinking world, and them gassing it, trying to make it through before it closes. I was totally imagining that. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
exactly. Yeah. I'd be like, no, we're gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Yeah.
It's a ship full of, like, the best characters from the Fox universe that everyone loves.
Yeah, and everyone's running, and they're either getting taken out or not. Yeah. That'd be so great.
The guy, Oscar Isaac Apocalypse, he's like trying to catch up, and they're like, speed up.
Sorry.
Speed up. Sorry.
The aliens from, I don't know, what's it called? Dark Phoenix. Like, please.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever the fuck we're called.
The Flock or something. Yeah, who knows what they're called. But I also hope that in your theory, there's a scene where, like, every movie ends, like, in Days of Future Past, Trask, or not Trask, or whoever the back, no, is it Not Trask, but whoever's his eyes turned and became Mystique. Was that the character Trask, or no? Was that the?
It was one of the.
That was the Brian
right?
Cox. Was that the Brian Cox younger version character? I'm blanking. Stryker. Thank you. It was Stryker's eyes blink as Mystique, so they're already changing, and then that ends up being nothing the next movie or whatever. That'd be funny if they have an extra scene now for every movie where the minute the credits roll, we get to stay for another second, and TVA agents show up. They charge up and prune everything, so that way that's how they can explain how nothing matters, everything's changed. Everybody just gets pruned immediately when the credits hit for us. Like in that end credits of the of Apocalypse with Mr. Sinister being teased. They just put a little time bomb on that briefcase. It just gets wiped. I would love that. That'd be great.
Every loose end is just
pruned. I love it. This is great.
At the end of Deadpool 2, when he's going through time and killing Ryan Reynolds and killing the original version of Deadpool, Wade Wilson, it ends with him in the hospital where a young Adolf Hitler has been born. And he's reaching into the crib to kill baby Hitler, the classic time paradox. Now, if he's allowed to do that, if the TVA doesn't stop that, then in theory, you have a world. It would have destroyed his own universe, right? Because if you don't have a baby Hitler who grows up to be Hitler, and then in theory, if World War II doesn't happen the same way it happens, then that prevents the Cuban Missile Crisis, which started X-Men First Class, right? Which is where they all came to a head.
Even more, it prevents the Nazi camps. Yeah, there you go.
Magneto's history, it prevents so many problems.
Oh my God.
So it almost could be that we could start Deadpool 3 in that hospital as he's reaching down, and Logan shows up doing his own time travel thing, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, I got to stop you from doing
Hey,
this."
bub.
Yeah, they have a fight right there. Hey, bub.
Yeah.
This little baby's got to grow up to be the monster that he becomes.
Come on, just let him do it.
He's just like, just do it. Just do it. Rhodey's like, no, just do it. Got a hot tub time machine this.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that is such a good point. Hitler is sort of centric to the Fox universe.
All X-Men or Fox universe. Yeah.
But we kind of, this, don't clip this out, please, but we kind of need him to make, you don't get Captain America.
No.
You don't get Captain
America. The trailer of Deadpool 3 ends with him turning to the camera being like, "We gotta save Hitler."
We gotta go back and save Hitler.
We gotta save Hitler. It's like Deadpool 3, we gotta save Hitler. Oh my God. That would be the worst / best movie ever.
That is such a very much a Deadpool-esque plot that I can see it happening.
So so the movie is him undoing the killing of Hitler. Yeah. Because if that wasn't that, we wouldn't get Cap, wouldn't get Magneto. We wouldn't get.
That is wild.
You get to that paradox they had in Rick and Morty, right? Where it's just people keep showing up and killing each other who are trying to stop the birth and
snakes.
Stop the killing of the just constant people showing up.
Yes, just portals just opening up.
That was always my problem with the Terminator movies. It should just be constantly people showing up at the same time to kill and stop each other, and just bodies just piling up everywhere of jumping through time.
Wait, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the end of Deadpool 2 ends with him using the time machine to save his wife, right?
Yeah, Vanessa,
he goes back to save his wife, yes, and he's like, "We're gonna name our children after Cher because of turn back time."
Do you think that the TVA would want to arrest her and maybe prune her because she's
that's a really good one too.
Well, that is a good question, MT, and we need to know what the purpose of that TVA is. If their purpose is really protecting some sort of sacred timeline, then yes, they might have to, but if she's critical for the success of that sacred timeline, then they would allow her to continue, I would imagine.
True.
But just Deadpool jumping through time would have created so many branch timelines.
That would have been so many things to fix. I love that theory, that actually a little theory about his wife, though, because I think at the end of the day, whatever the story's going to be, it's gonna have to be a very personal story. I think that's what, it seems like that's what speaks to the character for Ryan Reynolds in both Deadpool movies. It ended up being a very small story, about him and his wife getting together in the first one.
Yeah.
Him, F is for family and saving that kid. It became the really small stories at the heart. So that actually, I think, really makes a lot of sense if it's about him protecting her now. Because also that was the thing I missed from part 2 is that Rena Baccarin had barely a role in Deadpool 2, and she's great.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So
She's
if
phenomenal.
if they expand her role in this sense, where now they're the Fox TVA is after her, and so Deadpool's having to stay one step ahead to keep her safe and save her, and then she'll be in that car on the Bifrost riding on that portal closing. That would be great. Actually, I really like that.
Yo, I think it'd be really cool if Deadpool's wife becomes the MCU personification of death. And like that's why like Thanos and Deadpool have
That'd
the
be really
rivalries, because like Thanos loves death and then like Deadpool loves death. So it's like, hey, like that's my wife that you're liking. But like, well, obviously when Thanos would have to come back from the dead, which like I honestly feel like Thanos is gonna come back from the dead with an obsession with death because he died before. So he's like, oh yes, I love death.
And they're introducing that new Thanos at Disneyland, right? There's like that King Thanos.
True, the bearded Thanos.
Yeah, and that looks like Josh Brolin. So yeah, they are introducing semi-canon, an actual Josh Brolin Thanos that's coming back. So yeah, totally.
It's so weird to think that Thanos was just like shaving his hair the entire time, and he could just grow a very long.
It's a
beard
variant.
anytime.
Well, we saw some stubble, didn't it?
Yeah, he had some 5 o'clock shadow.
That's true.
Every morning he used that helicopter blade to like
He's
spinning it. It's like 2 blade. And his head. He actually has a full long head of hair. He shaves that too. Yeah.
That would be like he just has like a Brandon head of hair.
Yes, exactly.
He's got that Thanos bun.
All right, but that's what Tom and MT do, so that's why he uses that. Yeah.
All right, guys. So it's voting time. What do you guys think about this theory of Wolverine, Deadpool, Cable, and potentially I forget her name, Deadpool's girlfriend, wife. I'm so sorry for being
Vanessa?
super. This is Vanessa.
Marina Baccarin, the actor, right?
Wait, she's also Vanessa?
Actually,
maybe Kingpin.
Vanessa.
Like Kingpin
might go after her. You better watch out.
Yeah, that's true.
Vanessa.
All Vanessas are mine.
Vanessa? I got it. I think it's Vanessa, but.
Oh, they're shouting in the comments right now.
They are. They're like, how dare you? How
Sexist
dare you? Exactly. All girls are
okay.
Vanessa, okay?
Yes. But no, what do you guys think of this theory of Wolverine, Deadpool, and Cable potentially being arrested by the Time Variance Authority? Rogus, bogus, or ogus?
You know, MT, I think, I gotta say, I gotta admit it. I gotta admit when I'm wrong, and you're right. It's very rogus. I don't say I'm wrong. You're right here. You're very rogus on this. I like it. It's a theory I was cooking in my own brain that like the TVA is going to show up and deal with this guy. They got to deal with it somehow.
Well, I purposely haven't thought about it at all, so this is great. So when I hearing it, I'm like, oh, these are great ideas. So yeah, I'm gonna give this major rogus because again, you reminded me that Cable exists, which I'm embarrassed to say I forgot he was gonna be in this movie, and you made me think about the Fox TVA because again, the Sacred Timeline and the TVA like. Time is different than dimension. So of course, in another dimension, they'd have their own maybe TVA or not TVA, you know? And so I think that's really, those are really fun ideas. Again, that showcase how the MCU is so powerful. They can fix, retrospectively the Fox universe. So rogus.
Yeah, man. Like Kevin Feige, like he was working on the XMen films back in the day. So like he's well familiar with that universe. So like
and all the plot holes.
Exactly. He's the only one that can really do the job, honestly.
Exactly.
But thank you guys. Thank you for the double rogus. I'll take it. But up next, Brandon has a really interesting theory that he's going to be sharing with us soon. But be sure to head on over to newrockstarsmerch.com where you can grab our latest Obsession shirt, Lady Justice, inspired by the She-Hulk series. You can also check out our latest Obsession shirt, Ash in Ruin, inspired by the House of the Dragon series. Both of these shirts are limited edition and won't be available for much longer, so be sure to grab them while you can, support the channel, and head on over to newrockstarsmerch.com today. But I guess this leads us to our second topic for today, which will be presented by Brandon. Take it away, Brandon.
Here's the deal, folks. Okay, I've been watching She-Hulk, been loving She-Hulk. It's very interesting, especially to see the MCU through like a comedic lens and how that affects the world in a weird way, and it really pushes what happens in the reality of that world in an interesting way. But one thing that is really sticking with me is like, they're just very casually introducing all these other powered individuals, right? People with powers. We saw it this week at the retreat, right? And these people are doing things. They're getting arrested. They're committing crimes. And we don't get in the MCU films and a lot of the shows, we don't see a lot of like what's happening boots on the ground. What are people dealing with? But for the most part, society seems pretty nonplussed about these like immortal beings or all this other stuff going on. Now, granted, the MCU general public has been through a lot, right? They've had alien invasions. They've had secret countries be revealed.
Away. Yeah.
Snapped away.
Helicarriers falling from the sky every week.
And Sokovia falling. Yeah.
So a man who through an experiment was turned into a half man, half bull. Not exciting, right?
Or like 4 dudes with construction equipment that glow.
Yes.
Not a big deal.
It's not even the biggest news story on the news that night, right?
Exactly.
But why are they so okay with it? And here's what I think has happened, folks. I think that when the blip happened, the reverse snap, whatever you want to call it, when everyone came back, I think the world was fundamentally changed. I think reality was changed in a way that a lot of people came back with abilities and powers. But everyone there doesn't know that the change happened, and they assume this is how it always was. This is kind of like a Back to the Future, right? Where like when Marty in Back to the Future 2, he goes back to 1985 and everything's a mess, and he's like, this isn't the world I left. And all those people are like, this is the world. What are you talking about? I think that's what's happened here. I think everyone came back, half the population came back, and a lot of powers were put into people, and they assumed that they were always there, or they don't remember a time before. I think their minds were changed. And I don't know if the Celestials did this. I don't know who did this, but someone introduced all these powers into people, and this is when they did it. A little, what does Ant-Man always say? Like distraction, right? Or
misdirection.
Misdirection, yes. Boom. While this crazy thing is going on, some upper being was like, this is when I'm gonna put all these powers into people. This is when I'm gonna put the X gene into people. This is when I'm gonna like do all this change. Now that might just be Kevin Feige, but that still counts because he's the one above all. Okay.
He is
but
God.
I think this is gonna be revealed later that they something happened when everyone came back that fundamentally changed our genetics. The reality of the MCU.
Bro, this sounds a lot like House of M, dude. And like that makes me wonder
right?
if Wanda did something on the side, like we didn't see it, and like people just have powers and this Wanda. I love it. This is such a good idea.
Yeah, we don't even have to go that far. Maybe when she did the hex, when she undid her hex or whatever, maybe that even could have jump-started something.
Well, we were thinking that like during the show, right? There was a lot of theories during WandaVision, like, oh, this hex is gonna, especially with Monica passing through it and her like giving her powers or unlocking her powers in a way. We kind of thought like, oh, when this goes out, it might do that. And we kind of had these theories too post Endgame when they showed like, oh, when you do the snap, like it sends out this like radiation field, and maybe that's changing people.
Or whatever,
But yeah, it could have been Wanda MT because like she was snapped away, but maybe even when she came back and she was reconstructed, like maybe that just unleashed something of like the Mind Stone nature within her, right? That like just kind of like changed things for everybody. I don't know. But yeah, I do think the snap, the unblipping was like a cover for like, oh, something else happened behind the scenes that we didn't see. And they're going to reveal it later.
What if like everyone that came back got powers, but like everyone who came back was actually transported from a different universe where like powers were like normal. So when they came back, it's
they
like,
got swapped or something like that?
Yeah, it's like, I don't notice that I'm on a different planet, so whatever. Like, this is just my planet.
Like Earth 616A, right? Yeah. Like, it was very close to ours. Like, everything's the same except for the powers, and they just kind of swapped like that. I don't remember, MT, do you remember if they confirmed if Kamala Khan was blipped? Or her family, or anyone in her family? I don't recall.
I think there might have been like a subtle hint, but like I don't remember.
Well, I think some either like the writer or the directors of the show maybe commented on it on some point. I don't remember. I think they did answer the question. But a lot of people now, a lot of these showrunners are like, I don't want to answer. I don't want to tell you.
They're like, yes, no, whatever you want.
It's like, listen, they asked me to make a show. I made the show. I don't know.
I had to write 6 hours of television. I don't got time to figure out all this minutia. Yeah.
There's 50 characters on this show. I'm not going to tell you which ones did or did not step away. Who cares? Move on with your lives. And we're like, we want to know. We want to know.
Answer this question about Iron Man 2. And it's like, I'm not even making that. What are you talking about? Yeah, that's what all the fans want. I think this is really interesting, Brandon, and it's funny, as you were setting it up, I was like, oh, you're gonna say, and then you said XG, and I was like, because they need. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they need to explain why there's been no mutants. Either this is brand new thing, which is going to be kind of weird because then you don't get the Magneto origin story in a sense, or even Apocalypse, where you talk about mutants have been here and have been part of humanity evolving. If it's new, that's not going to work. But then if it's old and it's something been ingrained in the 616, then why has it not come up? Are you just going to say that, Bruno, Kamala's friend just needs to look at everybody through an iPad and be like, oh, you got a mutation. Oh, you had a mutation this whole time too. You had a mutation. You don't have a mutation. You know what I mean? Like what's that explanation going to be? So if you say that it's some kind of continuity fix like that, where with a House of M type situation where everybody comes back, everything's different, but nobody knows. That's really fun because then that would, in a quick one sentence, fix that situation, and fix that explanation as to why
it would be interesting.
Mutants have been around,
because I don't want like an old Magneto walking around being like, I was in an internment camp, and it's like, how old are you, Magneto? What is happening here?
Right? Or he's playing chess in the park, and then it moves, and he's like, how come it moved? I've never had powers up till now, but oh well. Yeah.
It would be fascinating to like start, right now and be like, oh, this is my son, Erik Lenscher. And you're like, oh, watch out. He's going to be
yeah, exactly. He's like, my daddy survived World War II, and just keep it the same. Yeah.
It's just Michael Fassbender for no reason. Just like perfectly, just young.
And he's like, I'm 92 years old. And it's Michael Fassbender today. Yeah.
Right. It's like I manipulated the iron in my blood, and so I don't age like you.
Oh, exactly.
They could probably do that. I don't know. But no, I honestly feel like, the snap is like this huge cosmic radioactive event that happened, and like it has to be
happened
linked
twice.
To
well, 3 times, right? Because Thanos snapped once, he snapped to destroy the stones, and then Hulk brought everybody back. So there's been 3 waves.
Well, there's 4. There's 4 because there's the original. There's what Hulk does. There's what Iron Man does. And there's the destruction of the stones.
Right.
So there's
like
4.
The universe has been hit with these.
Exactly.
Concussive.
If Monica got that messed up going through 1 hex, imagine everybody going through 4 waves of Infinity Stone snaps.
That is very, very significant. I feel like those 3 snaps, bro. Like that's not nothing. And I feel like mutants could definitely come from the snap for sure.
And it might also explain why like Jen, can break the 4th wall.
Yeah, the snap shattered the 4th wall. Yeah. That's why Wade Wilson will be able to do it.
Also, was Jen snapped? Someone tell me if Jen was snapped. Answer the questions.
We need to know. The people need to know.
Was Pug snapped? Someone tell me if Pug was snapped.
I think that's why Josh wanted to download her phone. It's like, I need to know if she was snapped. Let me download the contents of her phone. Well, all right, guys, what do we think about Brandon's theory about the mutants being tied to the snap and like potentially coming, like just like having their reality just completely shifted from the snap? What do you guys think?
I'll be honest. At first I was like, this might be August because it's kind of it makes sense. It's kind of nice. But when you talked about a way to introduce the mutants and X-Men, I'm game. Because I was a long-time diehard X-Men fan. I've been waiting for them to be introduced, and every little they're giving us morsels here and there, like with Xavier in the 838, and then Bruno with the iPad calling him out. Then I think that this could be really a really good intuitive way to do it that doesn't have to have some like Ex Machina thing, Ex Machina, no pun intended. Some other things show up and just explain it all of a sudden, I'm gonna give this Rogus. I like that. It also fixes a lot of other things, like maybe She-Hulk, the 4th wall break. Maybe it broke all those walls. Maybe that's why all these superpowered people are showing up, and it's NBD for everybody. So Rogus, like it. Good job, Brandon.
No, I will also give this a Rogus because like I like a good. That's like a crazy thing that happens and like just like reality just shifting and like nobody noticing. It's like, oh yeah, because like literally there were no mutants, there were no superpowered people. Like the superpowered people that existed in the MCU prior was like the extremist people. I think that's basically it. Like that just those. But that was
it wasn't even natural, right? It was like they were given that stuff.
They were given it from Killian. So like this is just it's just so random, and I feel like the snap had to just change reality.
And I love, I'll just say I love that part about how we've, this universe has experienced so many snaps because some other universes probably never even got 1 snap. But in the
Exactly.
616, because of the way things went down, we got so many that I love that explaining part of it too. Sorry to interrupt you, MT.
No, you're totally like that's so true because like that was the only reality where the Avengers succeeded. Like they failed in every other reality. So like every other reality didn't get as much snaps as 616 did. So like that is very true and very unique for in the multiverse. But I was also going to say, like, just to the point of Magneto, the Time Stone was also a part of the Infinity Gauntlet. So like the snap could potentially radiate throughout time as well. I feel because like the Time Stone was involved. So like Magneto could be Magnetoed because of the snap that happened in the future, which is kind of weird to think about, but like, who knows? Comic books can do anything, really. But no, I want to give this a Rogus myself because it is super rogue and I love it. It's so smart, Brandon. We love you.
So smart.
That's right.
But now it is time for our rogue question. Are you guys ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Okay, because now that Deadpool 3 has a release date and confirmed the appearance of Hugh Jackman as the Wolverine Man, what is the roguest thing that you would like to see Deadpool do now that he is MCU canon?
It's tough. I'm torn between like two things I really want to see.
Okay.
I'm going to give you both of these. I'm going to double dip on this. Okay. One is I got to see Deadpool interact with Kevin Feige. Like, it's gotta happen.
Like, yes, and he can ask Kevin Feige all these questions, like, answer this Iron Man 2 question, Kevin.
Yeah. I want him to be like, why did it say 8 years later in Homecoming? No,
but it was 6. Yes.
Why is Tony friends with Elon Musk?
Hey, that was the past. We all liked him back then. Yeah, I want Kevin to be like, meet Deadpool, and then also be like, I gotta get rid of this guy, and go like hire Ryan Reynolds to kill Deadpool. He's like, listen, you got to take care of this guy. But I also want to see what I really want Deadpool to do as he's doing this, making his way to the MCU. I want him to like break into like the animated XMen universe and like grab like an animated Wolverine and take him in like Who Framed Roger Rabbit style and have kind of like how you had like Spider-Ham in the like across the Spider-Verse. I want to see like a cartoon character living and breathing in the MCU, and they just have to like deal with that and be like, here's an animated Wolverine.
Imagine Deadpool and 2 Wolverines. Yeah, one animated, one movie. The animated one who never stabs anybody and always, throws people because it's a cartoon and he can't kill people. Versus
and like Wolverine, like trying to run away from him and like close doors, but he can just like slide right between because he's two-dimensional.
He's two-dimensional. And then you can even get Logan. You could get Logan, Old Man Logan, the one that actually cuts people down. So you have the original Hugh Jackman one that doesn't draw blood, but still stabs people. Oh, that's hilarious.
Wolverine, no adamantium home. There we go. Let's get that
going. Three Wolverines. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So this is semi-cheating because like years ago on a Rogue Theory, we talked about what we wanted to see, and so I'm going to pull that one back out.
Okay, pull it out.
Baby.
But I was hoping, or I would think it'd be hilarious if they did. This is kind of also a little bit of cheating, but like Brandon, I'm going to say a couple of things, but they're all related. So if they do, thanks, Brandon. If they do like, I want them to do like a greatest hits of the MCU and have Deadpool traveling to all those moments and using his either like slide device, and he could bring Wolverine with him, and then you could start explaining a lot of things that we hadn't seen, and like maybe he could be the one to give Taserface the name and make him think that was a good name. You're like, no man, Taserface is badass. Look, we got a guy with claws here. So I'm Deadpool. Funny. You should do it too. I was like, really? And then you could have him just do all these things in the MCU that maybe were not explained.
He spills a bunch of acid. He spills a bunch of acid on like Rhodey's face when he's Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
And he's like,
and he does a surgery and
he
he's
comes
like,
back, he looks different.
Exactly. He's like, you're good, right? You're good. Okay. You're good.
You're good. That looks the same, right?
But it could be just him hitting up all, like almost like a greatest hits album, just hitting up like all the places, like a clip show. And then he could
Avengers Dead Game because
there you go, exactly, Dead Game. And it could just be him traveling through all that, and it kind of ties in terms of like maybe the multiverse now, because at that time when we was talking about this, we didn't know where Endgame I don't think was out, or I don't know what, but anyway, we didn't know we didn't know about the multiverse and stuff like that.
We didn't even know. We were just babies.
Yeah,
we were just innocent babes. But no, I really like this idea. Deadpool going through the timeline greatest hits, because like I just want to see the MCU Deadpoolified to the maximum. So that'd be a great way to like really just introduce the character and be like, hey, what did I miss?
Like maybe he went and put all the Easter eggs around, like in Iron Man 1. He's like, let me put this broken cap shield here, and I'm gonna fuck with the fans. You know, like let me go do that. Let me go do that. And so he's the one who's been putting the Easter eggs and be like, oh, these nerd boys are gonna love this. Yeah, or whatever it is. I think that you could weave him into every movie in a very funny,
that would be
almost
sick.
Organic way. And even though there's not too many loose ends in the MCU, there are, and he can tie up some of those too.
No, I love this. I want to give you the Rogue Question trophy of the day, even though these were both great answers.
I'm going to share mine with Brandon because I really want to see animated. The voice actor. Yes, we'll hold it. We'll show you. I would love to see the animated Wolverine in the movie.
I want it so bad.
I also do want to see Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe at some point, whether it's like animated in a special What If episode. We got to see that. We've got to see that.
Yeah.
That'd be super
Well, I was
cool.
thinking it might be Deadpool kills the Fox Marvel Universe. That was my other thing, is that maybe the movies will be him going around killing off the Fantastic Four, all the properties. He'd kill the Cloud, Galactus Cloud, and it would just him be killing. That way, he could be the one, wiping his hands clean. Being, all right, let's go to the MCU.
Right.
It's like, all right, we're good. We're good here.
We're good here, Rowdy. And no more branches. Okay, cool.
But that is it for this episode of Rogue Theory. I want to thank Tom Michelson and Brandon Barrick for joining us this episode. Please follow them on all their various social medias. And please do not forget to check out newrockstarsmerch.com so you can buy all of our awesome merch over there, including our latest Obsession shirts that are only here for a limited time. And if you got thoughts on some of our Rogue Theories, you can share them on our Discord. If you're over 18, search for the New Rockstars Discord server and just join the conversation today. We'd love to have you. Follow me at MasterTainment, follow New Rockstars on all social platforms, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel here on YouTube. We love you guys. Thank you guys for spending time with us and going rogue. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Clip.